What is up, y'all? Y'all are here with Technical Foul. I'm Jack Anderson. To my right, you have one JP Pucylowski.
What's up, guys? I'm JP. I'm from Woodstock, Georgia. It is just north of Atlanta. I'm a Saints fan, and then I'm also a Bulldog at heart. My dad went here in the '90s, so I've been a dog since day one. Welcome to Technical Foul.
And to my left, you have Sanders Oakley.
What's up, guys? I'm Sanders. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. Fifth-year student here, hoping to graduate soon. And, yeah, been a Bulldog my whole life. Third-generation student and just lover of whatever sports in season.
And as I said before, I'm Jack Anderson. I grew up in College Station, Texas, so I'm a huge Aggie, not a Bulldog. We'll definitely get some flack for this on this show. But I'm also a big Spurs fan, Commanders fan, just kind of all over the place. But we're going to get rolling right into Mississippi State sports score updates for the week.
All right, let's do it. So we'll start with men's tennis. They went 1-0 with a victory over LSU. Women's tennis, unfortunately, lost twice to Vanderbilt in Missouri. With women's basketball, the Bulldogs lost a heartbreaker to Vic Schaefer and the Longhorns on Thursday. They were able to improve to 20-10 after a good win down on the Plains on Sunday. The Bulldogs are on to the SEC tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. They will take on Missouri in the 10 versus 15 matchup. Here is their path to the SEC crown. They'll start with Missouri. If they win, they will play the school up north, and then hopefully a rematch versus Texas. The Bulldogs came in as the 9 seed in the latest bracketology, essentially locking them into the tournament. Unless they lost, I guess, by 75 to Missouri, they might get knocked out. Sam Purcell has led the Dogs to a second tournament in his first 3 years as a head coach. On the softball, softball was 5-1 this past week. The Bulldogs are now 18-3 on the season, and they are most recently ranked 20th in the country. SEC opening weekend is this Friday as Auburn comes to town. Baseball had a disappointing weekend, to say the least. The Bulldogs got a nice win over Rice on Friday before losing to Arizona and Oklahoma State on Saturday and Sunday. The Bulldogs are 7-4 on the year. They came into the weekend 18th ranked in the country. They are no longer ranked. Southern Miss comes to town on Tuesday night for a rematch after their competitive 3-0 victory over State earlier this winter. Be sure to pack the dude Tuesday night at 4 p.m. The time was just moved this afternoon. We have some inclement weather coming in tomorrow. So 4 p.m., pack the dude. On to men's basketball. The Dogs had a 40-point loss to the Tide, but they quickly answered on Saturday to improve to 20-9 after a strong second half against LSU. Coach Jans has led State to 3 straight 21 seasons and has locked in a 3rd straight trip to the dance. The Dogs came in at 25 in the Week 17 rankings. They will play on Tuesday night against Texas. Senior night, this will be the last chance to see Cameron Matthews wear maroon and white for the Dogs. It would also be the last game for impact transfers Claudio Harris and RJ Melendez in the hump. That game is at 7 p.m., so perfect timing. Pack the dude at 4 p.m. and then pack the hump at 7 p.m. Now we'll go on to our tournament prospects, specifically with men's basketball. And we'll start with the SEC tournament. The State is currently tied for 8th in the SEC at 8-8 in conference play. The Bulldogs could finish as high as 5th and as low as 11th after this next week. The path to the 6th seed is not as difficult as it may seem and is also the most likely at 26%. The Dogs would need the following to happen. State win out. They would have to beat Texas and then win at Arkansas. A&M lose once, either hosting Auburn or at LSU. And then the school up north to lose once, which is very likely to happen. They host Tennessee, and then they will have to go to Florida. So really good chance for the Dogs to end up as the 6th seed in the SEC tournament, which would be huge. You get to avoid Auburn. You get to avoid having to play the 9 versus 16 game. And more than likely, you get to avoid Kentucky. So we'd love for that to happen. State needs to win out, though, and that starts with Tuesday night against Texas. Now on to the NCAA tournament. The Bulldogs currently reside in the 7th seed in the latest bracketology. They're ranked 31st in KenPom and 30th in the net rankings. And I do want to talk a little bit about kind of the positives and negatives about this Bulldogs team as we go into the tournament. Start with the positives. This team has shown a few times that they have the ability to take over a game defensively for an entire stretch. Go back and look at the Memphis game at Memphis. Go back and watch the Pitt game, the ACC SEC tournament, or the ACC SEC challenge. Also against South Carolina, and then you saw in the second half against A&M where they acquired 17 steals, including 6 from Cameron Matthews and 4 from Josh Hubbard. This is a team that, although they're not as good defensively as they were in the prior years, they can still turn up for a night, and that can be impactful in March. This team has also shown the ability to stay in games when they really shouldn't be in the game, especially against premier talent. Go back to the Kentucky game here at home and the Alabama game here at home. Kentucky shoots 50% from 3, makes 16 threes. And Alabama, 48% from 3 on 15 makes from 3. The Dogs are in that game down the stretch. If the ball bounces this way or a ball bounces the other way, they probably come out with a win in that game. Also, we can look at gritty clutch wins. They're 8-4 in clutch games. A clutch game is when a game is within 5 with less than 5 minutes remaining. And a lot of these wins aren't at home. A neutral site against Utah, at SMU, neutral site against McNeese, at Vanderbilt, at the school up north, at Georgia, at South Carolina. These are gritty wins away from home, which is pretty impactful because, as we all know, March Madness, no game is played at home.
It's a dogfight.
All game is a neutral site. More than likely, you're 3 hours away from home or your fan base. The Dogs in the current bracketology would play in Milwaukee. State travels as a fan base, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of State fans in Milwaukee, personally. So this is just something that, gritty clutch wins on the road is a good quality to have, especially come March. In terms of negatives, any team, and I mean any team, with any all-around guard play, with guards that are just bigger, faster, and stronger. Look at Alabama, look at Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida. They picked us apart. Hubbard and Claudel Harris aren't big enough defensively to guard those matchups. And with the lack of rim protection, that's something that can be a problem. A guard can get to the rim, and this guard can also just shoot from 3 very well. Another way to look at it is, maybe this team just has bad luck. Go look at the Kentucky game and the Alabama game specifically. Chris Youngblood comes into the game as a 38% shooter from 3. And in 2 games against State, he shoots 14 for 21 from 3. Robinson from Kentucky, a 35% shooter from 3. In the game against State, he goes 7 for 10 from 3. That's just something that doesn't obviously happen all the time from guards, and maybe you can quantify it to bad luck. But I would like to look at it from a different perspective, as we just don't defend the 3 as well. We rank currently 313th in the country in defending the 3. For context, there are 364 teams in all of NCAA Division I basketball, so that's pretty bad. I would say it's not as bad as that stat from year 1 of Coach Stan's where we were the worst 3-point shooting team in the country. I'll take this over that, but it is still bad. We let opponents shoot 36.2% from 3. So this is kind of the negatives that we can see in this tournament team. In an ideal scenario, we can hopefully get up to a 6 seed. An 11 seed would be a team we would most likely know that we can beat most of the time. Your current 11 seeds are teams like Georgia, Vanderbilt, SMU is on the bubble. Hope for a 14 seed upset. That happens 14.74% of the time. So hopefully that can happen. Otherwise, you're in a competitive matchup against a team that you could beat or, could get lucky. Think of Kentucky's a current 3 seed. A&M is a current 3 seed, also a team we've beaten, by the way.
We won't finish as a 3 seed, though, so.
We've beaten A&M, too. But correct. They may not finish very well. Wisconsin's a current 3 seed, and also Texas Tech. So the ideal scenario here, make the Sweet 16. And that's all for your score updates and your tournament perspectives for the state, our state, Mississippi State.
I just want to add on a little bit to tournament prospects.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you completely about the lack of three-point defense. I have it down here. Y'all are allowing 9.3 made three-pointers from the opponents per game, which is 343rd in the nation. That's basically dead last.
Yep.
Not quite, but about 20 teams off. I'm also worried about the team's over-reliance on Josh Hubbard to create and score. We've seen in games where he picks up a couple fouls early or stuff like that. The team just really struggles to score and keep pace with opponents. So I have y'all down for a round of 32 exit, most likely.
I'm fine with that.
But it really does come down to draw because y'all are just
Absolutely.
very matchup dependent in that sense. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will.
Would you like to add anything, Sanders? You
No,
good?
I think y'all. That was the research done there was impressive. I
Thank
feel
you.
like I learned something coming away from that, and I know Mississippi State basketball pretty well. So, learned some things I wish I hadn't heard and could unhear, but it doesn't change the truth. So,
Very true.
All right, moving on, we have our winner chicken dinner team of the week from the past week. I have the Georgia Bulldogs. They went 2-0, beat Florida at home by 5. It's a big win. They really needed it. Coming into the week, they were the last team in, according to Joe Lenardi's bracketology, the guy for ESPN. And then this past Saturday, they beat Texas away, so on the road, by 16, picking up their second road win of the season. And that was another big knock on them, is that they could not win away from home. And the people that put together the bracket really care about that. So they're up to 33rd in net now. Joe Lenardi has them in the last 4 byes. So huge ground made up for them. It's a huge week. I want to highlight Silas Dimery. Had 20 points in both games, 20 or more points in both games. So big week for him, big week for the Georgia Bulldogs. I like to think they're pretty safely in the tournament, just with the way the bubble's shaping up. It's a pretty bad bubble this year.
Agreed.
Teams cannot win to save their life. It's like no one wants the last 8 to 10 spots in the tournament. It's really rough.
And they're saying expand the tournament.
I mean, I would be so mad, but it's a talk for another time. And then my cock of the walk of the week. So player I want to highlight this week is none other than the GOAT of the NBA, LeBron James. He is averaging 27, 8, and 8 since turning 40, which is very comparable to his MVP season in Miami, the 2012-2013 NBA season. And that's an efficient 27 as well. He's shooting 55% from the field and a crazy 42% from 3. And yeah, I mean, the fact that they have Luka now, Luka draws a lot of gravity, so LeBron's job is a lot easier. But still doing that at 40 is insane. And since a lot of his offensive responsibilities have lessened with Luka there, he's turned into a plus defender yet again. The first couple months of this season, he was basically non-existent defensively. Didn't even really like he was trying, to be honest. But he's really picked it up. The Lakers have now climbed up to the 2 seed in the West, which would be huge for a potential second-round matchup against the Nuggets. They would have the home field advantage in Game 7 if it gets to that point. I can't wait personally. I think it's going to be a great NBA playoffs. But yeah, LeBron James, cock of the walk this week.
He deserves it. I was a big LeBron hater growing up. I was not very fond of him, but I've come around in these past few years of it's just truly incredible. And how blessed are we that we've gotten to see, both in basketball and football, the GOATs play as we grew up and just dominate as they got older and older. Everyone has always said, like, oh, it's father time. No, LeBron, Brady, they're still getting it done, and it's insane to see.
All right, next we'll be moving on into our pecking order. Sanders Oakley puts together a nice little top 25 for us based off his model that me and JP, let's say we're not the biggest fans of, but he's going to try and convince us of it. But I'll let him talk us through that.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and explain it first. The model's super simple. I love looking at sports from a different perspective, trying to look at things, stats that not everybody else sees, or maybe everyone else is ignoring them for good reason. But basically, this model just looks at who you're playing, who you've beaten, who you've lost to. So it looks at the win percentages of the teams that you've beat. So the model takes the win percentage of every team that you've beat, and it adds that up in one category. So if you beat a team who was undefeated, or they're 9-1 now, it would be 900 points. And then it looks at the losing percentage of the teams that you've lost to. So if you've lost to an atrocious team who was 0-9 and they beat you, now they're 1-9, that would be another 900 points because their losing percentage is 900, and then it just adds up the win percentages, subtracts the losing percentages, and then sorts teams based on that score. The goal was and is to reward teams for beating very good teams and punish teams for losing to bad teams. And as you can see over here, we've got our pecking order, as I like to call it, to stick with the chicken theme of the podcast, Technical Foul. And it's been a really interesting exercise every week. We've had teams like Bradley ranked in the top 25, Bradley basketball. Had not watched a minute of basketball until they showed up, and then had to go watch a little bit of film and see what they look like.
Do you even know
They
where
didn't-
Bradley is?
Unfortunately, not.
I don't know either. So.
I couldn't tell you. They did not look like a top 25 team on film either.
I think the 2 minutes of basketball I watched was some of the best ball movement I've seen from a non-Mississippi State basketball team this season. And that is just a narrative on how much non-Mississippi State basketball I watch. So yeah, this is my pecking order as I put together. It's got some pretty interesting names. I think y'all have kind of talked about some of the teams you like and don't like. JP, do you want to start with some of your selections?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start with the team I like, and it's gonna pain me a little bit as a State fan, but I think it's impossible to gain credibility as a show and not talk about something as great as this Auburn team is. Number 2 in KenPom, number 1 offense, number 10 defense. They're the only school that's top 10 in both, and they're number 1 in offense. I just want to go through it at a resume perspective. I'm not even going to talk X's and O's. You could pretend like this is State, and if State was this, how would you feel? They have wins over at the time when they won this game, they beat the number 4 ranked team in the nation, the 5th, the 12th, the 16th, the 15th, the 23rd, the 6th, the 23rd, the 2nd, the 17th. Their 2 losses are at Duke and against Florida, neither by more than 10 points. By the way, Duke is a 1 seed and Florida is a 3 seed in the current bracketology. They also have possible wins, as if they were to win the SEC title, they would beat the 22nd ranked team in the nation, the 7th, the 19th, the 4th, and the 5th in the route to an SEC title. Let's look at it from a tournament team perspective. Based off the latest bracketology, they have beaten 2 12 seeds, 1 11 seed, 1 10 seed, 1 9 seed. 4 times they have beaten a 7 seed. They have beaten a 5 seed, a 3 seed. They have beaten 2 2 seeds. They have beaten 2 1 seeds. And if they finish out the season the way it is, beating A&M and then beating Alabama, they will beat another 3 seed and another 1 seed. Again, losses to 1 seed Duke and 3 seed Florida. Compare this to a team that was unprecedented at the time, the Kentucky team with Carl Anthony Towns. They went undefeated through the regular season, all the way to the Final Four, and lost to Frank Kaminsky in Wisconsin. They had 4 ranked wins. In terms of tournament teams, they had 12 wins over tournament teams compared to Auburn's 15, which could be 20 if they finish out the season. Kentucky beat 1 2 seed, 2 4 seeds, 2 5 seeds, a 6 seed, a 9 seed, a 10 seed, 3 11 seeds, and a 12 seed. Auburn has potentially 3 wins over 1 seeds, already has 2 wins over 2 seeds, and has a chance to have 2 wins over 3 seeds. It's unprecedented from a resume perspective, and I think the pecking order really shows having them at number 1. It's just correct. So I hand it over to Jack for a team that he likes.
Yeah, so the team I like is Texas Tech. If it was my own personal rankings, I would have them higher. But the fact the pecking order highlights them at all, I'll take it. They're 8th in the country in offensive efficiency, and a fantastic three-point shooting team. I believe they have 4 shooters that are in the 95th percentile or higher in college basketball in three-point shooting. So they're going to light it up. They're not necessarily an elite defensive team, but they're not lacking there at all. Can get the job done. Really, their only weakness is they do foul a good bit, so you can get them in foul trouble. But, they've picked up some big wins. They just beat Kansas this past week. I really like them a lot. It's a team I'll definitely have go far in the tournament in my bracket. So, also, just talking about Auburn, it's actually ridiculous what they've done. I'm a hater. I hate Auburn. They suck. Janai Broom, bum. Just Chad Baker Mazzara, scum. But they get the job done, so gotta respect it.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely not going to debate greatest teams of all time because I feel like that's not really an argument that's easy to have. But would you say this might be one of the greatest seasons as far as resume and just strength of schedule and domination? Is this one of the greatest seasons we've seen all time?
Yeah, I mean, the greatest season this century, you'd have to go back to Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at UCLA to find something in terms of just absolute, utter domination. And that's why I can try to compare it to Kentucky. Like, that's the closest comparison I could think of a team that just dominated for an entire season. They were never really in a close game. But Auburn, they've almost doubled up, if not tripled up, their resume. And Auburn still has 2 games against ranked opponents. And like I said, a 3 seed and a 1 seed to play and the SEC tournament. So their resume has a chance to just be historical, to say the least.
Question for you: would you pick that Kentucky team, that Karl-Anthony Towns Kentucky team, or the Auburn team to win if they faced off?
I'm taking Kentucky because they have Willie Cauley-Stein on
Legend.
that team, by the way. So Willie Cauley-Stein trumps Janai Broom any day of the week.
All right, we want to move on to a couple teams. I know y'all said you have some questions about the model. Do we want to move on to some teams that maybe you're not as high on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to start. I'm going to start with UC Irvine, the Anteaters. They are number 71 in KenPom. Sanders has them, I believe, at 20 on the pecking order. They're not even projected to make the NCAA tournament right now because they're not number 1 in their conference. UC San Diego is above them. UC San Diego, though, is on the pecking order, so maybe that's something to say. UC San Diego is a good team, even though UC Irvine is higher than UC San Diego on the pecking order. The Anteaters have 2 wins over current projected tournament teams. We just talked about seeds a ton. The 2 seedings of those 2 teams are 11 seed UC San Diego and 14 seed Towson. So we have UC Irvine 19 spots off from Auburn. I feel like it's a little bit of a uncredible statement of the pecking order. And they would be a 5 seed if you made a bracket from the pecking order. So just a clear and obvious miss by the pecking order here.
Yeah, I keep hearing people be like they're a mid-major darling. Honestly, I've not watched much of them play, but just top 25 here, it seems a little extreme. The team I dislike is St. Mary Gales. They're top 10 in the pecking order, and it's really just, we talked about how the pecking order works, but just playing a weaker conference, they're the 74th overall strength of schedule. Mm-hmm. They've only played 5 projected tournament teams. They're 3-2 in those games. They have beat Gonzaga twice. That's honestly what's carrying their resume, and those are good wins. But it lost to Boise State, who's a kind of fringe tournament team. Lost to Utah State, another fringe tournament team. Just haven't really been impressive overall, and kind of going off historically, they're never great performers in March. Just kind of an icky defensive style, just doesn't really get it done. Never a good shooting team. They're average to below average this year once again. I've been fooled into picking them to make runs in March before, and it will never happen again. So I've been burned too many times. Overall, though, a decent top 25, a decent pecking order. It's been worse.
It definitely has. Some of the football rankings got pretty interesting as well. So
true.
It definitely. I'm sad to see Bradley fall. I don't know. They fell out about a week and a half ago, and that was a hard pill for me to swallow because I just love seeing them up there.
Do we know who they lost to?
No.
That's tough.
Yeah. So if we kind of want to wrap up the show, we're gonna move on to our question of the week directed towards JP. This one, I think we might have cooked something up here, JP. So we're going to put you on an NBA basketball roster with 5 players. One of those players is you. The other one is Tyler Hero. Okay. And 3 current players of your choice. And the question is, how many games are you winning?
And the stipulations, like we said, were you never get tired.
Right. So you're going to reach normal exhaustion for an NBA game. You do not have the same energy. You get. We don't know if you can hear us, but someone's getting pulled over for running a stop sign right outside our studio right now. So
Tough
we're
day
just
for
going to
them.
let that unfold. So yeah, as I was saying, you get to the average rate of tired. Like Jack said, it's like you played 40 minutes or 40 minutes of basketball.
36 to 40 a
Yeah.
night instead of 48.
Yeah, so you are not
Sure.
as if you played 48 minutes of nonstop basketball. You played about your typical minutes.
Okay.
But the five of y'all are on the court together. Who are you picking, and how many games are you winning?
Well, myself, obviously, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is going to give us 22 a night. I'm going to play this from a points per game perspective. With the goal of NBA teams, you need to score, 120 a night. And so on a 5-man roster, Tyler Hero, he's going to give me, he'll give me 22 a night. I think I can score 3 a night. I think I can hit a 3 a night, hopefully.
A singular three.
They're going to
A
leave you
singular
wide
three.
open, so you're going to get your looks.
The problem is I'm 5'7", and they're all 6'8", so
Yeah, wide open.
wide
in
open,
The NBA.
they can close out in about 0.2 seconds. So
It's true. That's true.
It's going to be difficult in terms of spacing. Yeah, give me Tyler Hero, obviously. I'll take Victor Wembanyama, honestly. He's too athletic. Obviously, the reach is insane. From a defensive perspective, he would be enormous for this team. And I'm going to go a little controversial. I think Wemby could give me 20 a night as well.
For
So
sure.
20 a night from him, 22 a night from Hero, 3 a night from me. That's 45. So we need to pick up 80 points. So in that case, give me Kevin Durant.
Wow.
He's big, tall, listed at 6'10", but he's obviously 7'1". Can shoot over anybody. He's a prolific scorer, been a prolific scorer his entire life. He's going to give me 35 a night, I think. And then my last one, I'm going to go a little bit controversial here, but I would pick one of the first men that came to mind was Bam Adebayo.
That is crazy.
So how many? You have 2 centers on this team?
Yeah, 2
fives?
centers.
Bam's a small center, though.
He's a
He
small
can play
center.
the 4.
So and then you're moving KD to the 3,
KD would play the 3, yes.
and so you're playing the 1, I assume.
No, I'm playing the 2. Tyler Hero's playing the 1.
He's not really playing. He's standing in the corner.
Yeah, I'm standing in the corner. I'm not. I don't plan on bringing the ball up against any NBA level defensive guard. But let me explain. Bam Adebayo. I think if anyone watched the Nuggets versus Heat finals, I did. Bam Adebayo played very well, and I think he showed that he can be a scorer as well. And I think I could get 20 a night from Bam Adebayo. But the big thing with Bam is he can defend, he can guard, or that's the same thing. He can defend, and he can handle the ball very well. He can also shoot the 3, so we can still stretch the floor with all 5 guys. I'm probably the worst shooter on the team, but I'm making a 3.
Probably. I'd say yeah, probably.
Pretty safe bet.
But everybody can stretch the floor, so there's not a spacing problem, even though everyone's tall. But I think our length is something that NBA teams would struggle with, personally. In terms of how many games are we winning, I'm thinking 48.
Wow. Okay.
48 and 44.
My eyebrows are so high right now. That is all right. Okay. I mean, the defense. It sounds like you're going to be one of the better defensive teams. You've got a game plan. I mean,
I can't defend. But
Right, but-
I think, yeah, with the other guys, yes.
So you can't defend. What's the defensive game plan then?
hope they miss.
That's a good question. I would put me on whoever the guy, because in the NBA, you just have a guy that just stands in the corner nowadays. Put me on the guy who just stands in the corner, and I contest. For those on the podcast, I did quotations, air quotes. I contest the 3. Realistically, I just kind of stand there and watch him shoot over me because he's 6'4", and I'm 5'7", so there's no contest.
48 and 44. That's what you said.
48 and 44, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna walk you. Sanders posed this question to me last week, and so I'm going to walk you through kind of my thought process for it and who I chose to play with. To be fair, he posed the question to me a little differently, and the 3 best players in the NBA were on my team, so I didn't really get a choice of who was on my team. I got Jokic.
Okay.
It was this season, so Jokic, Shea,
Okay.
and then did I say Luka for third? Even
Yeah,
though
I'm
he's been
pretty
banged
sure
up.
it's Luka.
I think I just wanted Luka on
'Cause
my
we were
team.
assuming he stays healthy because he's one of 5 players. So healthy Luca.
Yeah, healthy Luka.
Okay.
Okay, those are my 3.
Who was your 5th? Because it wasn't Tyler Hero. It was
Alex Caruso. And see, that hurts, but I'm giving myself Tyler Hero for this.
okay.
Because he's better than Alex Caruso. I'm gonna need the scoring. No disrespect, Alex Caruso, A&M legend, love the guy, bald Mamba, an icon, but don't think he's gonna make the cut here. So I was thinking, we're in bad shape. Gonna struggle to defend. Jokic is not a very good defender. Luka's not a good defender.
Correct.
I'm not gonna be able to guard anyone. When we had Alex Caruso, he's a good defender, but one guy, and then Shea's a pretty good defender himself. So that was kind of the worry there. Defensive strategy was just going to be similar to what you said. Just try and run him off the 3-point line best I can, and funnel him into Jokic, and hopefully Jokic can contest it enough, and we can get the board. We're not going to have problems scoring.
Sure.
The Jokic-Luka combo is going to be kind of similar to the LeBron-Luka combo, honestly. And that's 2 geniuses on the court. But I give myself 12 wins. Maybe I undershot the mark a little bit. But
I don't think so. I think JP
Man,
might be a little.
I'm a little high. Is that what we're saying?
I think you're a little high.
48 and 44 is high.
I'm not providing anything. I don't think I'm hitting 1-3 a game. You're a better shooter than I am.
Fair.
I'm just a get to the rim kind of guy, and I'm not getting to the rim against anybody in the NBA. Not even close. I probably will average 1 dribble a night, to be honest. If that.
I feel pretty confident in that. I felt like I was lowballing with 48.
Lowball, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just like underestimating, undervaluing the other people on my team and how good they are. I do like your team construction better than mine, minus the Bam. I'm not sold on the Bam piece. I don't know why you would go Bam for your 5th guy. But Wemby's the best defender in the NBA. He influences shots like no other.
You said 10?
10 wins?
10 wins or
12.
12. I just don't think any team with Luka and
That's like
Joker
worst team in
and
the NBA level.
Plumbers is winning less than 20 games.
That's fair. I agree. I'm probably a little low.
I think you're very low.
48 though.
I think that's good.
You think it's
That's play-in in the Western Conference.
how far are y'all going in the playoffs then? Are y'all making out of the play-in?
Who are we playing?
So let's say y'all are we'll give y'all the.
Do we have home court advantage? Probably not. No.
We'll make y'all the 9 seed. Okay, so y'all get home field for the first game, right?
Sure.
And y'all can play the Phoenix Suns in their current dumpster fire state. We'll just pretend there's 2 KDs in the league.
Sure.
Are you winning that game?
Yeah, I'm better than Grayson Allen, so.
Yeah, I don't know with basketball, and I kind of, when getting that question, I was getting the vibes that the JP had the look in his eyes. He's like, I'm not losing this game.
Yeah,
So
there's no way.
The Suns are a dumpster fire right now. Probably going to trade KD in the offseason. So that I can agree that's probably a win. So then you're on. I'm trying to think who the 7 seed even is right now.
7 seed is the Warriors right now.
But we're just going to say they win. So you don't have to play them. They're in as the 7.
Okay.
So then the question is, who are they playing? Who's the 8?
Warriors are playing, let's just say the Clippers.
Okay. That's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I think Norman Powell is tearing us apart. So
Yeah.
I don't think we win that. We won the first play-in game, but I don't think we make it out of the play-in. But 48 and 44, I'm confident on that.
Okay.
All right.
We'll have to run a 2K sim. We'll have to get you in the game. And
That's more bad math. 48 and 34. Yes?
yeah, you don't play 92 games in the
92.
season.
48 and 34.
All right.
I feel confident.
So you're not even in the play-in probably at 42 and 34. You
Yeah,
could
that
be
might
the
be
6
like
seed.
That might like a 6 seed.
6 or 5. It really depends. But
I do love the confidence and the trust you have in the team you built. it's inspiring for sure.
You say it all the time. Confidence is the biggest thing in sports.
Yeah,
So
Bam's the glue that makes this team good. So
I think that's easily the worst pick you made for your team is Bam. I'd like to say you needed 8. You said you needed 80 more points of scoring, right? And so you took KD and said he's going to give you 35, and then said you're going to take Bam to give you 20.
let's say Wemby gives us 28.
Okay.
Hero gives us 28.
If Wemby's playing 48 minutes a night, everyone's scoring averages are going to inflate.
Yeah.
So that is true.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and also he doesn't necessarily need to get that 120 mark if he's assuming like Wemby can play good defense. Like he's going to be counting on some off nights from the teams.
Yeah, I mean, we're only giving up 84 points a night, so
If we stuck you on the Charlotte Hornets and took away LaMelo Ball, how many games are y'all winning?
less than the Charlotte Bobcats did, which is 7, so 6.
Okay.
All right, believable.
I mean, that's a pretty poor team.
That's 30 points a night. I just don't know where we're getting their scoring from there. I don't trust. Yeah.
Because Brandon Miller's out right now, too.
Yeah,
He's
Brandon
not
Miller's
playing,
out.
so.
Trey Mann and Miles Bridges.
If only y'all had a Dalton Connect. What could have been?
Yeah.
He dropped 19 last night for the Lakers
True.
He's cooking.
in the absence of Austin Reeves, so he may be back after his time away to reflect and figure out where he stands. But
All right. Well, this has been a pretty interesting first episode.
Absolutely.
Definitely a lot of fun discussion, a lot of fun news, a lot of interesting debates. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We recorded our first show Monday. We should be back again on Wednesday. Not sure exactly when the podcast will drop relative to the recording, so you might not get this till Wednesday. We don't really know. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Yeah, it's been awesome.
see you guys.
Pack the dude and pack the hump on Tuesday.
Oh yeah.